start from our lecture number 3. So before we start from here, we actually will see what are we going to see in SAP HCM. So we have organizational management, resources, organizational management. In organizational management, we have organizational plan, organizational staffing, and if you look at this, this is basically where you actually create your enterprise for HCM for HR department. Okay, you create a company from the validity dates, and you create from here, and this is where you actually start. Okay, and this is where you will define your organizational structure. Okay, so this is where the front end, of course, and we have multiple companies over here. Let's see Tata Group, and let's check that out. It is responding. Yes, it is Tata Group. Then we have positions and jobs that are in this company and that are being maintained over here. Okay, and let's go to Tata Motors, Assistant Chief. Double click. We have position assignment. So this is position, these are jobs that are being created, that are already created, and we have this Tata Motors, okay, which is an organizational unit. Okay. So now these are info types that are being maintained. Okay. And info types are basically, we'll discuss about this as well. Go back. This was just a little about organization staffing, general structures. These basically structures again align with your organizational groups. Okay, what are the organization groups that we have? We can of course define department, and those departments will have integrations with other departments like finance. Okay, so now we can of course look into the departments that will have various alignments with the structure, the internal structure. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and see what are we looking into. PO10 organizational unit. This is where you actually create your organizational unit, which is the top node, and we can select a date. Okay, and that can be 01.0.2024 infinity. Okay, and from here we can create our own organizational structure. And now plans will actually see what are basically plans will actually go in the next lecture and see that. Personal administration. Now, what are personal administration? Personal administration. What is that? Personal administration. Administration, HR master data, personal action, PA40. PA40 is the transaction code. Now, where do we see the transaction code? From here. Okay, PA40. So personal number, we can choose any personal number, which is the employee number. And let's say we take this one. Enter. And this is the name. Okay, sub area will also discuss what are sub areas, what are employee subgroups. Okay, and what are these action types? Action means what action is being taken, like hiring, transferring, promotions. Okay, these are some of the action types defined for this employee. Okay, so anyways, this is how we can actually explore these areas. So speaking of coming back to SAP, having such a big structure, of course, requires big data actually coming in. For that, we need business warehouse. And business warehouse can be set up using Biz Objects or IBM or Informatica. Okay. SAP actually relies on these technologies for reporting and for data analytics. Okay. So business planning and consolidation, this is another area in SAP, which is basically for combining group of companies' data and producing a report. Okay. And enterprise application integration is one of the examples, okay, where your enterprise portal is basically used by a group of companies for reporting purposes and for hosting web apps which integrate with SAP. Okay, SAP Solution Manager, basically it's a framework for execution of projects internally. Okay, and Solution Manager is basically a comprehensive framework to implement any project or assignment or any internal project which could be related to SAP or IT, and all of your configurations can be stored in Solution Manager step by step. The documentation can be stored in Solution Manager. Okay. SAP BBC tool, which is business process consolidation, works with business intelligence tool. Okay. And it's used for business planning. And it was an external tool developed by another company. Okay. Project lifecycle management, this is another area which is for project managers to actually align their data and their phases of their project to execute the phases of the project successfully. Okay. So SAP, if we talk about that, now you should be confident what is SAP, how projects are basically implemented, and how projects are basically successfully rolled out and delivered. We've already discussed this. From next lecture, of course, we will be going deep down into SAP HCM. Okay. So we talked about the landscape. In the landscape, of course, we have the development landscape, the QA landscape, the PRD landscape. Now, landscape means three servers: development, QA, PRD. In development, of course, all the configuration happens. And then in QA, all the testing happens. And in PRD, all the live data is uploaded and live entries are done. This is a very simple analogy that I have presented to you. But in development, of course, you customize, you configure separately, you test it on development and then push it to the QA server. And from QA, it is tested for business process alignment by the business users, which is client. And then after their approval, it goes to the PRD. Okay, I hope that is clear. So it was a small lecture today, but of course, we have already given quite a lot of understanding in the past lectures. Okay. So this, of course, wraps up our lecture for today.